if I miss class.
You can make it up tomorrow.
Actually, I'll be gone for a week.
A week? In the middle of the semester?
Oh, is everything all right, Smolder?
Smolder requests a few days off from school to see her brother in the Dragonlands, as he's been down since her departure. She describes him as a bit of a softie, so Spike comes with her to make friends with her brother. On top of that, it's dragon hatching season, and you can't say no to Fluttershy not going to see baby dragons hatch. Upon arrival, we get our two conflicts. The dragon eggs don't seem to be hatching, but even worse, it turns out Smolder's softie of a brother is none other than Garble. Hello everyone, and welcome back to At the Screening. I'm the voice of reason.
And I'm Thespio, and today we'll be discussing Sweet and Smoky. So, Garble is Smolder's brother. Yeah, not gonna lie, as I was watching, I was starting to have doubts that this would end well, considering it's Garble. But from what Smolder has learned at the friendship school, she knows how to not take any other dragon's crap, especially from Garble's friends who continue to tease Spike. Gotta say, Smolder was in top form here. She wasn't a complete pushover, but she still didn't abandon her dragon roots and continued to maintain her relationship with Garble. Albeit an unexpected relationship, but a relationship nonetheless. But hey, it's at least a better sibling relationship than what griffins have.
Are you trying to push my buttons here, Thespio?
Hey, I'm just presenting the facts, man. It's not my fault griffins are nice to each other only one day of the year.
Yeah, sorry. This episode left a bad taste in my mouth, and it's gonna take a lot to wash out all the sulfur and lava from it. And guess what? It's around giving Garble a sensitive side. When this episode was airing, my thoughts progressed as following. 1. Please don't tell me Garble's Smolder's brother. 2. Dang it, Garble is Smolder's brother. 3. Oh, sweet Celestia, we're actually going to redeem Garble. Every bit of this screamed, red flag, do not proceed, do not collect 200 bits, go directly to jail. And I was right. We redeemed Garble by giving him a sensitive beatnik side, and yet I still feel nothing towards the attempted murderer.
Well, hang on a second, voice. I wouldn't necessarily say Garble was redeemed, per se. While, yes, he did threaten lives in Dragon Quest, specifically unhatched phoenix eggs, here, he essentially helped create life by helping the dragon eggs to hatch. So, I see it more or less as him working up the strength to express himself amongst his other dragon peers other than his sister, and doing it for the good of his people. It's shown here that him being a bully is more or less an act to try and maintain his rough and tough status amongst the other dragons. In fact, I've actually noticed that most dragon-centered episodes in the show have alluded to metaphors of toxic or insecure masculinity and coming to grips with your sensitive side, such as Smolder embracing her inner femininity in What Lies Beneath. Now, in the case of Garble, would it have been nice to maybe have a hint or two of him having another side to him in prior seasons? Sure. Like, maybe Spike ordering him to hug every dragon at the end of Gauntlet of Fire helped open him up or something. I don't know, it's hard to say, really. But, again, I wouldn't really say this was, by definition, his redemption. It's more or less an explanation.
Or it's a poorly conceived retcon in order for us to feel sympathy for him.
Oh, come on. Would you rather it be the levels of Starlight's retcons? Like how Maud showed her the location of the Cutie Mark Vault and Rock Solid Friendship? Or the entirety of the Parrot Map?
Okay, first off, those were character-ruining moments to make one character not as awful. Also, I like the Parrot Map because Stellar Flare reminds me of my mom. And second, you know where this use of retroactive continuity was done a lot better? Crusaders of the Lost Mark. Remember how we all said there was no way the show could ever make us like Diamond Tiara? Well, the 5th anniversary of the show made us feel solace for the spoiled brat. You wonder how anyone could act the way she did for 5 seasons despite her father being a generous business pony? Well, they wrote it so her mom reaped the spoils, heck, it's in her name, and expected her daughter to keep to the affluent lifestyle by always holding her daughter to that standard. It's a retcon that works in the story's favor. The other reason it worked so well was Diamond Tiara's redemption arc was the focus of the story. The election and the CMC getting their cutie marks were just added dressing to an already great episode. Sweet and Smoky splits its 2 stories between the dragon eggs not hatching and Spike and Garble's bonding. Putting bonding in quotations here. Since the focus is split, it doesn't feel like there's enough time to really dwell on Garble's softer side. By the end, I have no feeling towards Garble being a little nicer to Spike. If he's less jerky by series end, good for him. However, it's still not going to make me feel compassion for him just because they tacked on a creative side to his character.
Well, again, I'd argue that this wasn't a complete redemption by any means, but I'd also argue that I think both plots were properly split and given equal amounts of attention. Neither plot line took over the other or made another plot line feel unnecessary, unlike in certain episodes like All Bottled Up. And plus, in the end, everything came full circle to where both conflicts were resolved and there weren't too many loose ends. Garble worked up the strength to show his creative side despite any reservations, and the result of that helped hatch the newborn dragon eggs, albeit unconventionally. So while I understand your hangups, I still think the overall story structure was kept pretty concrete.
Well, even if the story was clean as far as flow goes, I still felt a bit on the drain side as far as searching for something to laugh at. I can really think of only 2 instances where I actually belted out in laughter. The first was Fluttershy begging to see the dragons hatch. The second was Fluttershy's first encounter with Ember at the hatching grounds.
Which one are you again? The party one? Apple Dash. Or was that the country one?
Fluttershy, the one who loves creatures. Are all these yours?
What? No, none of them are.
Now I got quite the chuckle out of that, with Fluttershy thinking Ember birthed all of those eggs, followed up by Ember reacting in embarrassment. A bit of adult humor that's gonna fly over all the kids' heads. Other than those two, I can't really say I found that funny.
You know, it's interesting you say that, because I found a lot of things here that made me laugh. A more minor chuckle coming from the beginning with Spike mentioning the Smile song as something that makes him happy, but a majority of it coming from Fluttershy. I've said in the past that I think Fluttershy has had some of the most consistent character growth out of any other character in the series. She amped up her Adorabeatus factor to 11, which I couldn't get enough of, as she still squeezed over baby dragons, calling back to her series introduction when first meeting Spike. Yet she's grown enough to no longer be afraid of full-grown dragons. But she also knows how to put her hoof down in the name of tough love, especially with this line here.
Just you wait, Garble. You're dealing with Fluttershy now, and she's packing a whole lifetime of kindness.
I don't know about you, but not only do I need more sassy Shy in my life, I need more gangsta Shy in my life.
Yeah, I agree, but even I have my limit when it comes to Fluttershy's baby talk. Also, I kind of want to smack Fluttershy for this line.
How are the baby dragons doing?
The eggs won't hatch. They just keep shaking. I'm starting to think the dragons are too scared to come out.
Wow, you're not even trying to be subtle to that parallel.
Well, either way, after this, Fluttershy is now my 3rd favorite main 6 next to Twilight and Rarity. But as much as Fluttershy made me laugh and give me cavities, there was one little thing I do have to deduct points for. As it was shown later in the 3rd act, the unhatched dragon eggs were shaking, not out of fear, but because they were cold due to the other dragons draining the lava bed underneath them that they used to keep warm. So, you mean to tell me that Fluttershy, caretaker of any kind of animal, whether it be mammal, bird, reptile, what have you, couldn't tell right away from first hoof contact with the eggs that they were cold? Hell, not even Ember could come to that conclusion? And yet Spike was the one who figured out this obvious problem?
There was plenty of dumb to go around here, including the rest of the teen dragons who were unintentionally killing off their own species so they could have more lava fun.
Well, granted, they're teen dragons, and not to sound like I'm generalizing or anything, but sometimes teens aren't always that bright. But anyway, aside from all that, this appears to be another divisive opinion between us, as I'm honestly inclined to give this a hooves up. The story flow was clean, it had its fair share of cute and funny moments, Spike trying to be the bigger dragon was admirable, and again, I wouldn't consider Garble quote-unquote reformed, but I honestly wasn't as bothered by him this time around. Probably because he had Smolder around to keep him from going too far like he has before. I don't know, maybe it's my inner softie driving my judgment this time around, but overall, could have been better, but as is, I don't think it's that bad.
Yeah, sorry, this is the first dud of the season for me. Unlike Uprooted, where I was on the fence, I know I'm giving it a firm hooves down. It was lacking in humor, the addition of Garble's creative side felt like an afterthought to garner solicitude towards him, and by the end, I just felt empty. It's once again another episode where a prior season did this concept better. A better name for the episode would have been Overcooked and Underwhelming. But next time we might actually get something sweet as we return to the apple farm for Going to Seed. Until then, thanks for stopping by the balcony. I'm the voice of reason.
And I'm Thespio, and you're at the screen.